Story 1, Life. I have been chronically depressed for over a decade. The monotony of this difficult existence becomes tiresome. Story 2. Everyone is moving forward, getting engaged, and having children, and I just feel like I will never be good enough for someone. Story 3. The heat is making everyone grumpy, and we all have cabin fever from being shut inside for about 2 months now. Story 4. I am battling obsessive-compulsive disorder. I am in exposure and response prevention therapy, and I can see progress for sure, but I walk around all day every day with my nervous system feeling on fire. I am trying to be strong, but I am emotionally and spiritually exhausted. I am frustrated that not only did I have to endure my trauma, but all these years later I am still fighting the fallout of it all. Thank you for asking. Story 5. How politicians promise to fix problems, but once they are in office, they do nothing or make things worse. Story 6. Constantly feeling unintelligent or awkward because I have trouble communicating effectively, and it makes me feel inadequate. Story 7. Sinus issues. I'm actually happy this question is posted so I can vent about it a little. Starting in January, I had the absolute worst sinus infection that lasted almost 2 months. It was the first sinus infection I ever had. Since then, I've been having sinus infections and it's only July. It's affecting my quality of life, work, and school, and it's draining. I'm coming off a sinus infection right now and can't taste or smell. I'm really in need of one of my comfort foods, but I won't even be able to taste it. After my previous sinus infections, I fear that I'm just going to keep getting worse after getting better. Even though I'm improving right now during my recent infection, I'm still scared for the next few days. I have work and exams coming up. It's so draining. Story 8. Lack of being able to make friends. Not just talking to people online, but someone to hang out with, gaming, watching stuff, etc. Not romantic, just a friendship. I lost a friend like that because he went off the extremist deep end, and it has been hard since. Cannot do in-person events all the time because I am limited to public transport, which is not very good here. It is even more difficult because I have no family. So, it feels like I am just alone all the time, except for talking to some people on Discord sometimes, but nothing meaningful. Story 9. Gosh, a lot of things. But the number one is that I went to an audition and the professionals in the room fully laughed at me. One made a snarky comment as I was leaving. It has been making me very upset. I know that proves I do not want to work with them, but they saw me as a joke and hurt my pride a lot. Story 10. The fact that I constantly feel like friendship is a chore. If somebody texts me to hang out, it feels like a burden, and I don't know why I am like this. Story 11. I miss my girlfriend. It is a long-distance relationship, but it is not getting me down too much since I know I am going to see her again, of course. I look forward to the day when I can see her as much as I like. Story 12. I have about 2 weeks before I lose everything completely. The apartment and the car. The power will be shut off in less than that time. I am anticipating homelessness. Story 13. Going back on the job hunt after receiving a reduction in force. I work in public health and it has been an absolute disaster. Story 14. Kid waking up in the middle of the night. Productive cough since Thursday. Trouble focusing at work. Difficulties losing weight. Anxiety issues. No time for myself. Story 15. It feels like I am not changing in the ways I want to in order to be who I feel fits who I am. I know that does not make a lot of sense. Basically, I have spent a long time being a certain way because people needed it until one day it just did not fit my skin. Now I am trying to change for myself, and it is not working so well. Story 16. Recently, I have experienced suicidal thoughts and post-traumatic stress disorder from past trauma. I am all right. I do not feel depressed, and I have no intention of ending my own life. However, I sometimes have strong thoughts and ideations due to previous events. I have reached out for support and I am doing better today. I have focused on myself for a little while and I am on the rebound. Sometimes, these feelings grip me, and I am thrown back to a very distressing time in my life. Story 17. I don't know, things just seem to improve, but I have this anxiety. It is biological in that it causes physical symptoms of discomfort near my diaphragm and other areas. It feels like a worry and an acidic sensation in the same area, which I can only describe as an anxious feeling that I get every now and then. It frequently comes with heartache. Nothing debilitating, just uncomfortable at times. I also want security in my lifestyle. I am allowed to live somewhere, but sometimes I get a drifter feeling, like I could be on the streets again. I am just looking for something more comfortable in life. The heartache and anxious feeling are my major concerns in trying to find comfort in living. I do not know why, but I feel like once I move out, if the apartment allows it, decorating a cozy room and having a fancy, extra cozy bed would help. I also think certain foods and music help. Story 18. After 17 years at my job, I no longer feel accepted in my department. Most of us have worked together all this time, but they always interrupt me when I am speaking, no longer accept any of my ideas, and just the other day, everyone who was in the office went out to lunch and I was not invited. Story 19. My 16-year relationship with my girlfriend is over, and I still have to tell her. Worse, the turmoil exposed possibly irreparable flaws in my 35-year relationship with my husband, so my marriage may be over too. Story 20. Injuries, health, and age. Uncertainty about the direction of my life and lack of improvement. Lack of money and opportunities for financial growth. No family, close friends, or serious relationships. Lack of motivation due to feeling no control over anything. Story 21. My mom has dementia, and it is hard talking to her. I feel like every time I hang up the phone, another piece of her disappears. I plan on seeing her soon. I need to, for both our sakes. Story 22. My best friend of 1.5 years asked me out, then a couple of weeks later took it back because he is not in a place in his life to commit. He is still my best friend, and I want to support him knowing he is going through a difficult time, but it feels like weird whiplash. I wish he had put more thought into it first. Story 23. Finished my first year of university being falsely accused of sexual assault. I was accused by my then friend's girlfriend, both of whom I really trusted. None of my roommates believe me, and they have all turned their backs on me. I will not be living with them next year, but I am really hoping that the people who have been told start to see me normally again. Story 24. My endless struggle with vaping and nicotine. Crazy as it may sound, it is ruining my life. It is stopping me from pursuing my goals since it damages my dopamine receptors and gives me brain fog. I have faith I can quit it for good this time. Story 25. My salary was just not enough for me and my family. I cannot find a part-time job because my 8-hour office shift is already tiring. However, I do want extra income. Story 26. I am turning 27 this week, and I have never been in a relationship before. Trying to find love has made Homer's Odyssey look like a car ride to the nearest gas station, and it is really draining my soul. Story 27. Accepting that as I near retirement, I am basically a career underachiever who did well in the job I had, but the job was not very impressive. Story 28. The fact that all of the schools in my area finished on Friday for summer, but I have 2 more days of school. Story 29. My ex. It has been months since the breakup, and he has been doing things that I never thought he would. He just will not let me be. I do not know what to do. I have him blocked, but he still will not let go and continues to hurt me. Story 30. My mom suddenly has a problem with her liver. She is fatigued and has jaundice. It is a shock to me because she has always been healthy and only drinks a single glass of wine with dinner, if at all. Story 31. Young people who burn trash, shoot mortars, attack, rape, steal, and annoy everyone so they can sleep. This company is declining, taxed by the state to take from small wallets while they indulge themselves. Story 32. What brings me down is thinking that I have no chance of entering a university, not having a profession, and being a failure in the future. Story 33. Broke up with my boyfriend because he decided that partying with his friends was more important than my birthday. Forget my life. Story 34. Stuck in a situationship with someone who does not care about me as much as I care about them. It is becoming increasingly clear, and I cannot get away from them because we work in the same space almost every day. Story 35. I am 26 years old, have been single my whole life, and have never been in a romantic relationship. I have no friends and live with my parents. I feel lonely and mildly depressed. The thing is, I am just a normal guy. I work full-time, have hobbies, and own a decent car. I do not drink, smoke, play video games, or watch sports. However, I feel like having a relationship with someone is an important part of life that I am missing out on. Story 36. I ended a long relationship. Now I have rent and bills in a city where I do not want to be. Today, I had a panic attack when I got to my apartment. I think I will just leave everything here and start over. Story 37. Some racist right-wing riots are happening on my doorstep every couple of nights. It is bleak, and the helicopters prevent my young children from sleeping. Story 38. Complex post-traumatic stress disorder is a struggle. I have a significant amount of medical trauma, and I am generally happy with life overall, but the complex post-traumatic stress disorder is still extremely hard at times. It is even harder knowing there are people right now going through what I did, and it feels like society is not doing anything to stop it. Story 39. My heartbreak. I am so hurt and sad because a man I thought I had potential with stopped communicating with me for no reason. It has been almost 5 days. I am angry I opened my heart again only for this to happen. I feel like a fool. Story 40. I am getting tired of all these people since they cannot understand my priorities. I am depressed because I cannot find a person who genuinely understands my ideals. What is the best advice? Story 41. I have had severe stomach pain, fatigue, and nausea for the past 2 months. I have seen several doctors and been to the hospital, but they cannot find a cause. I genuinely do not know what to do. Story 42. Having depression over my work mistreating me and being underpaid. I cannot leave because it is all I have and I have no other life skills. Story 43. The fact that I am in a relationship with someone who does not want to have sex with me is draining. Story 44. Oh God. Well, the pre-wedding jitters are a lot for someone with chronic anxiety and depression. I feel like I am losing my mind every day. Story 45. I loved what I did for work. Now I dread waking up. I am giving my son a better life than I had, but I still feel like I am letting him down. Life is difficult. Story 46. Poor health. Minimal response to medical and physical therapies. How much time do I have left? I am approaching 70 years old. I need to get well. Story 47. So many things to process and manage. Starting computer science degree today, a potential close friend cutting off all contact, my usual health issues, finding a job, starting user-generated content, learning to drive, studying full-time, and trying to maintain sanity and a healthy social life with all this. There is just so much. Story 48. Life, basically everything. I just want to disappear forever at this point. I wish I could donate my life to people who want to live. I am a student and basically broke. I am also in debt because of my student loans. Story 49. I have a nasal ailment, and my senses of smell and taste are dulled. I have had this problem since last weekend. Story 50. I feel pathetic because I am in my mid-20s, have never kissed anyone, never had a relationship, and do not have any friends. The only people I talk to are my mom and siblings. What is wrong with me? No wonder I do not have any friends or a boyfriend. I am literally pathetic. I will probably be sadly single my whole life. I am such a loner. Story 51. A couple of things. Let's see, I turn 50 in September, and trying to date is a nightmare. Being lonely is getting old. Story 52. Got dumped by the girl I thought I was going to marry last month. Now I am dealing with the reality of living my life without her. Story 53. I was given custody of my niece without the money to care for her. Child Protective Services took my sister's toddler away from her. I have always wanted to be child-free, and suddenly I have a child. Money is going to the paternal grandfather because his name is listed as her caretaker, but he is not able to care for her anymore, and I have her 7 days a week. Story 54. My position in life. I have no money, have been depressed, trying to find work, and feel like I am getting nowhere. I have no sense of purpose. I am just a loser right now, but it is all right. I will make it happen. It is all in the mind. Story 55. Grief. I lost my father in 2021. My brother betrayed me by taking all of my father's assets. I was illegally fired from a job that I loved. My 4-month-old grandson passed away on Christmas 2023. My best friend and my aunt, who was like a mother to me, died 2 weeks later on the same day. Almost a year later, my cousin, the second eldest son of my aunt who died in January, was killed. I lost another job that I loved because I took too much time off. A few days ago, we lost my cousin, my aunt's eldest son, to cancer. Only 2 cousins remain from that family, and all I want to do is hold on to everyone as tightly as I can. Story 56. I got married and had to move 3 hours from my hometown. I had to quit my dream job. Now, 2 years later, I have a baby. I love her very much, but I have been missing my job. I can never go back. Story 57. Struggling to pay bills, knowing that I didn't show my ex-girlfriend I loved her, and realizing that I was the reason our relationship failed. I will never get to hold her or see her again because of that. I love her so much, but I didn't show it, and I don't know why. Story 58. My social anxiety and depression make life difficult. It is depressing to know this is a lifelong situation. I have to wake up every day and actively choose to live a positive, functioning life. Nothing I do ever feels natural or comfortable because I am always pushing through my inner thoughts that tell me to just stay in bed or that I am ugly, stupid, or annoying to people. I have tried medication, therapy, and fitness, but they only help slightly manage it. I just wish it were easier to function sometimes. Bonus. Being gay and lonely and coming to terms with the real possibility that I may end up alone. Story 59. My job is difficult. I dislike the performance metrics, and the company expects employees to provide their own supplies. Story 60. Being in debt, working full-time, and being a full-time student. I literally want to end my life. Waking up every day is extremely exhausting. Story 61. I can't smoke marijuana anymore. It makes me sick. I love marijuana. I just bought an arcade terminal with a bunch of old Namco games. It's great, but I should be intoxicated to enjoy it. Story 62. I keep losing jobs because I am autistic and I probably have attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. I get the jobs easily enough because I am smart, I have good grades, a good degree, and I interview well. Then I get burnt out trying to keep up with the work. I just want to find a way to keep up or be allowed to do slightly less work and get paid less because my 150% looks like a typical 75%. Story 63. Last week, my doctor said he is almost confident I might have attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. He prescribed a low dosage of Ritalin to me as a test to be more certain. So much has improved since I started taking it, and while I am still adjusting, it just feels great. The reason this has me kind of down, though, is because I cannot help but think about all the wasted potential and things I could have done differently if I had known sooner if this is really what my mental baseline is supposed to feel like. Story 64. Financial troubles. I used to be able to put away over $200 a month. Now, I am dipping into savings to make ends meet. I do not drive, so rideshare services and food delivery are not an option for me. I have tried donating plasma, but I was turned down 3 times. Story 65. My various chronic health issues are mostly stress-related or triggered by stress. And God knows there is an excessive amount of stress in the world right now. Story 66. How am I supposed to do well at work, feed myself well, exercise, take care of my house, marriage, dependents, save money, and get to bed at a decent time? I am constantly exhausted and never finished. Story 67. Being reminded once again that all my friends from college are living much better lives than me while I sit in a poor apartment in a high-crime area because I made poor life choices. This is not a woe is me situation. This is just a daily reminder to myself that I am my own worst enemy. Story 68. The fact that I am 19 and still have not been taught how to drive or gotten a job is due to too many events that have set me back longer than necessary. Story 69. Applying to a university, although I am still unsure if I want to go. I am 20 years old and should have already decided what I want to do after high school, but I have not, and it is making my low self-esteem worse and humiliating me. Story 70. I often think about how I am going to die. Lately, I feel like I am going to have a heart attack, and that is getting me down. Thank you, mirtazapine, for helping me through it. Story 71. Monotony. Every day the same. I wake up, check social media, shower, go to work, come home, check social media, shower, and go to bed. But I enjoy the little moments in between. A good laugh, an interesting story, some good news from a coworker, a nice walk to work in the rain. Story 72. Watching the wealth divide become more perverse, while the wealthy and the petty bourgeois exploit the have-nots. Story 73. I miss my grandmother. She passed away in January, and today is my first birthday without her. I really miss her. Story 74. Let's see. Car payment due soon with a difficult job. Car window broken. House almost broken into, and I live on a college campus. I have a biological child, and I am not sure if he is mine or not. Child Protective Services case opened on me over the allegation that I hotbox with my stepson in the car. I use THC oil medicinally only. I have many mental health disorders and the problems keep going. Story 75. I am a 48-year-old father of 4. I have 2 grown-up daughters, ages 23 and 26, who do not want to have a relationship with me. I continue to pay child support for them. I also have 2 younger sons, ages 16 and 11, who have Asperger's syndrome. My girlfriend is becoming toxic, and I have 2 ex-partners who are difficult. I have high blood pressure and possibly diabetes, and I am experiencing severe depression. Story 76. Feeling like I always mess things up, feeling like everything about me pushes people away, and not knowing how to behave in social situations. Story 77. I have been saving up to start a business. It is exhausting, lonely, and much harder than it needs to be. Story 78. The struggle and balance of remaining alive with a handful of health issues. I am very grateful to be alive, but it does not mean that it is not hard and crushing at times. Story 79. My mind is constantly on death. I am absolutely terrified of something happening to my children or my husband. I have always been scared for my loved ones, but this is worse. I hyperventilate about my own death multiple times per day. I do not know what is going on. I am hoping it is only because I just had my son 2 months ago. Story 80. I may never get surgery to fix the tendon in my pinky. It will stay bent forever, which I have been self-conscious about for the past 10 years. Story 81. Sheesh man, my car. I totally got stuck buying a car for $3,000 that only lasted 4 to 5 months before breaking down. It was my grandmother's car, too, a Fiat 2014 500L. I took it to a repair shop, and they won over $2,000 for a fix that they are only 50% sure will even work. Not life-ruining, but that is a punch in the gut. Story 82. Always the fact that I work full-time and barely have any time to be myself or see my 16-month-old son, combined with the attitude, abusiveness, and emotional distance of my son's father. Story 83. Well, loneliness. I am almost 34. I have never had a real relationship. I am living alone in another country. I make just enough money for my expenses, but I do not have any money left to save, travel, or visit my family. I am tired. Story 84. Seeing dead innocent children in Gaza on my social media every morning, and no one does anything about it or seems to care. Story 85. Work has been non-stop and overwhelming for the past 6 months. It is so unrelenting that I cannot catch a break. Story 86. Over the course of 2 weeks, I went from being a healthy 39-year-old who could walk and run to being wheelchair-bound at 40 years old. Story 87. I have been unable to make significant moves, changes, or progress in my life for more than 10 years. I am stagnating. I feel like I am wasting away. I feel like I do not deserve the amazing love I receive. I want to be worthy. Story 88. The dread of adulthood. I have 1 year left of high school, and everything I will need to deal with in adult life seems to be getting worse. Housing and rent prices constantly increase, groceries also seem more expensive, and I can forget about getting a car. Maybe I am overthinking and it will not actually be that bad, but even if that is the case, The thought of life becoming 100 times more complicated in less than a year is not pleasant. Story 89. Literally everything. But I expected a long time ago that life would not be easy for me, so it is a bit easier for me to tolerate because I know someday in the future it will all be better. Story 90. This administration is causing another horror at every turn, while a different silent horror is being pushed through courts elsewhere. What a sick, shameful display of power. Story 91. My son and I got into an argument over text messaging, and we have not texted each other since. I usually comfort him and apologize, even when he is clearly in the wrong. I cannot bring myself to lie and apologize this time. As his mother, I feel it is my responsibility to teach him when he is wrong. He lives an hour away from me but has only had time to visit once in the last 2 years, despite my asking and inviting him. Story 92. I am going to be real with you. I am not doing okay. My grandpa was on hospice and died May 17th. I was pretty close to him. My granny, not his wife but the other side of my family, died July 5th. I feel a lot of guilt because I hadn't seen her since I was 13, and I couldn't even bring myself to go to her funeral. My cat had to be put down in June because she was very sick. Also, a stray pregnant cat I was trying to save got hit by a car. A friend I have known since I was 13 blocked me because she wanted to get with a guy. He told her straight up he did not want to date her but would sleep with her. She planned something dangerous, intending to start hooking up with him and then stop, saying she only sleeps with guys she is dating. I told her that was dangerous, and she did not like it when I said anything bad about him. Our relationship became strained. Then we got into a fight about something stupid, and she blocked me. Another friend that I had just started getting really close with began dry texting me. Cannot stand one-word replies. I would send a whole paragraph and get back responses like, "Oh wow, cool," or "crazy." I saw her for the first time at a hangout, ironically the same hangout where I found out my granny died. She was hanging out with a new friend, and while I was crying, she just walked past me without saying anything. Another friend I was really close to is also going through depression. He is not texting back much, but I understand because I know what it is like. I do not blame him, but selfishly, I feel abandoned. I try to be there for him because I do not want to close the door on someone who is struggling, but I only hear from him after weeks at a time. My mom is depressed after losing her dad. There was a lot of trauma while he was on hospice. We were caring for him, but my grandma was in denial that he was dying. My grandma is not a nice person. While he was actively dying, she spent 2 hours telling me every bad thing she could think of. She said she does not love me, that my grandpa did not love me, and other hurtful things. Then my mom came in after 2 hours. My grandma seems to hate my mom for some reason. She said, "My mom should have been aborted, that we are all disowned," and continued for 3 to 4 more hours just spitting hatred. I am genuinely traumatized. I could not sleep for a month and still have trouble sleeping if I do not take NyQuil because I hear her voice in my head saying all these nasty things. I was talking to my mom the other day, and she said that hearing my grandma say she should have been aborted has been bothering her a lot. It is very hard seeing your mom cry. My fiancé is working very hard toward the future. When he works, I am just at his house alone most of the time. I cannot drive, so I cannot leave if I want to go somewhere. I know he is doing a good thing by working, but selfishly, I feel very alone all the time. I feel incompetent. I will not go into it too much, but I was unschooled my whole life, so I do not have an education and I feel behind. I know I need to get my driver's license and a GED. Then I can get a job and maybe feel accomplished. But I need help. Because my fiancé works so much, he does not have time to help me. And I really have no one. Story 93. Loans are 4 days overdue because my supervisor will not give me the entire past month's salary. Apparently, it is to punish me for attending my cousin's 18th birthday instead of going to work. Story 94. Men's Mental Health Month felt like it received little attention this year. Since then, my social media has been filled with women saying not enough men commit to checking out of the world. I know many men have flaws. I'm just trying to survive. I keep seeing videos and posts telling me I should just give up. I have even unfollowed some content creators on YouTube and TikTok because they decided to monetize their accounts using male bashing and rage bait. I'm tired. Story 95. I am missing out on living a full life because I simply cannot afford to make it happen. Everything costs money, even experiences. Story 96. Having to keep going while fighting depression and severe obsessive-compulsive disorder. Sometimes I just want to stay in bed and not go out anymore, but I don't want to worry anyone I love. Story 97. The weather in Ireland has been disappointing this summer. The state of the world includes war, climate change, and poor decision-making. Story 98. I am transgender in America under the current administration. The political climate is difficult, with disinformation from elected officials, repeatedly explaining the same things to willfully ignorant people. Every single anti-trans law that is passed, the trans children who died by suicide because of this administration's policies, and the fact that trans adults have had to flee for their own safety are all tragic. There is isolation, misunderstanding, and constant attacks. Listen to Holy Shit by Against Me and you will understand. Story 99. Reddit users who ask depressing questions like, what makes you mad? What is the worst thing that has ever happened to you? And what turns you off a person immediately? Create a negative and sad atmosphere for no reason. Why can we not ask what makes people happy, the best thing that has ever happened to them, or what is making them happy lately? Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.